there is a lawsuit. The Los Angeles Clippers. The Chris Haynes has said former Los Angeles Clippers trainer Randy Shelton is suing the franchise for wrongful termination, among other things, after he claims he was fired after complaining that Kawhi Leonard was being subjected to unsafe and illegal treatments for injury. That's a pretty bold claim, for real. He goes on to say the Clippers issued me a statement disputing the claims. Mr. Shelton's claims were investigated and found to be without merit. We honored Mr. Shelton's employment contract and paid him in full. This lawsuit is a belated attempt to shake down the Clippers based on accusations that Mr. Shelton should know are false. There is already some paperwork out about this, but what's interesting to me is that this has been something that's happened before, similarly, where we've seen that there might be some team, funny business going on with injuries with the Sixers specifically. I'll get into some of the allegations, but Damo, your neighborhood rival, you got a bad case. Why are they around?
From across the coast.
Dicks are crazy. Crazy, bro. I'm not surprised. I'm definitely not surprised at all. I didn't hear anything about that actually. I was out all day running around getting a couple things. Did not hear anything about this case or anything going on with them. I heard about the Sixers thing, but the NBA implemented these rules to have players play, and now we see Kawhi's going down, and at this point, there's got to be something going on in that bum-ass franchise, that bum-ass organization. You thought getting out of the Staples Center? Yes, I said Staples Center. You thought that would lift the curse? It doesn't. You're a curse-plagued franchise.
Be so off surface.
I thought you were gonna ask a follow-up question. I think there's certain things in the NBA where I think the NBA community looks for common denominators and just attributes the common denominator to being the problem. But sometimes, some of these players get dealt like bad hands back to back to back. I think Omar even had this take about Skip Bayless. Like, we were looking at Skip Bayless being a problem, but if you really look back at it, technically, he had two shows that fell apart and he was a common denominator, but if you really look at the inner workings, ESPN fucked him over and FS1 fucked him over. So with Kawhi, I feel like this is something I will criticize Stephen A about today. He had that take again today talking about Kawhi's the worst superstar of all time because of this. Like, goddamn, I don't. First of all, we've already debunked that on this podcast, so I won't go there. But I think Kawhi's been, if this is true, Kawhi may just be another star that got dealt a bad hand, like in terms of injury management, all of these different things. And that's why he's one of the biggest what ifs of all time, is because he's never been properly treated for all these injuries. He's been put in situations where they have to rush him back because of expectations, because they're trying to win a championship and all these things. And ultimately it backfires on them and it keeps on backfiring on them. But as fans looking to slander players, all we see is Kawhi's out again. Kawhi's out again. How can you trust this guy? The worst superstar of all time, when that's not the case.
Now let me read this. This is the TLDR because that it's a lot of pages. It kind of lays out the whole story of Kawhi going to the Clippers and everything like that, and the injuries and Mr. Shelton's involvement. This is from Claw World. TLDR. Kawhi's personal trainer Shelton repeatedly, I'm going to say it one more time because it's repeatedly witnessed Kawhi suffer injuries and be forced to play through them, including not being given adequate time to recover from the 2021 ACL injury. And even after suffering what looked like a concussion just a couple weeks before the 2023 playoffs. With how many injuries he was playing through in the 2023 playoffs, they removed him after a scan revealed he had a torn meniscus as well as damaged cartilage on his torn ACL, but lied and called it a sprain. This team then fired Sheldon after he complained, then forced Kawhi to play as much as possible, 68 out of 72 games in 2024, until his knee completely broken down from swelling. They refused to load manage him and support his health and instead focused on a regular season team and profit.
That is crazy that there is a legitimate case out there that Kawhi has played more games than he should have. That is crazy to say, but those are definitely damning. Am I surprised, like what Damo said? It's the Clippers game. It was desperate. We all talked about it last year. They signed James Harden. It was a contract year for a couple of dudes. It was the last hurrah of the Kawhi, Paul George Clippers, and they fucking failed. Do I blame them? I see where they come from, but no, that's still fucked up what they did though.
What was the situation that happened this summer with Kawhi Leonard? Was it the fact that he went over to play in this the Olympics, and then the Olympic team doctors found out that he was not fit to play, or did it come back that it was Clippers training staff or medical team saying that they don't want him to play over there?
From my recollection of the situation, it was Clippers medical staff saying, "Yeah, no, you're not good."
Apparently, as I read this over, apparently some of the Clipper staff was destroying documents and removing Shelton from communications. These are all claims. These are all alleges. This is just what's in the
case.
Man, that is tough.
That's very tough. That's some damning things to be said too.
Yeah, I think that, you know, this is big business, big money. I hate to say it, but Kawhi is just another page in athlete history where this is the stuff that they said was going to happen. Like this is normal process and procedure, sadly. Right? He wouldn't be the first person, the last person, especially when we talk about these teams investing money. And I brought up Philadelphia because Philly did this drastic thing, right? They were trying to find an identity post AI, truly, and did a super drastic thing. They did the process. And from what we understand, based off of, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name right now. Not Colangelo. Was it Colangelo? Maybe it was Colangelo's. Colangelo's tweets off the burner account. They did some shady stuff. And I wouldn't think that these teams are the only ones doing shady stuff. I would not think that at all. I would think, though, with how much money that these two invested, I'm talking about the Clippers and the Sixers, they've probably done some of the most shady, most despicable stuff when it comes to these players. And ultimately, chickens are going to come home to roost. There's also an investigation going on with Joel Embiid right now. I don't know if y'all saw that.
I saw that one.
Yeah. What you do in the dark is going to come to the light. It ultimately it is. Joel Embiid can't play for like 3 weeks, ain't it?
Yeah.
Something like that. I seen he was shut down for the first week. I didn't know it was anything extended, but
yo, B Souls, this season you've been getting into more different sports, right?
I definitely have. And PrizePicks, our favorite daily fantasy sports app, and the sponsor of this video, has been helping me get into these other sports as well. The great thing about PrizePicks is that it offers weekly promotions. So on Thursdays, I'm making NBA picks because that's primetime NBA basketball time. On Sunday, football is on, so I'm making picks then. The app is just really fun. It's easy to use, and we're going to show you how to make lineups right now. So LeBron and the Lakers are about to play the Bucks. It is just a preseason game, so I'm going to go less on his points for this game. And today, I feel like Zach Edey is going to make a statement game. He's going to get more than 9 points.
And since you've been getting into football, let me tell you about my MVP dual threat sleeper, Jaden Daniels. I'm taking more on his yards any and every time I get.
Let's go ahead and put $12 on this lineup right here. Click submit lineup, and boom, that is how you make a lineup on PrizePicks.
Go to prizepicks.com and use code LKIAB to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups.
And shout out to PrizePicks again for sponsoring this video. That is once again code LKIAB. And back to the video.
I mean, it was obvious something was going to happen with them. The treatment of Joel Embiid and just his management his entire career, at some point it was going to come up to where it's like, all right, he has been on some form of minute restriction or load management for all of 10 years now. Like going into this year would officially make it 10, 11 years. This is probably his 11th year as a pro, but he's been load managed. He has been monitored. He's been on minutes restriction. Eventually they were going to have to start getting into the fact of like, all right, what's really going on here?
Yeah, I think if the investigation is to figure out what's going on with Joel Embiid's history, I think that's valid. But if it's just a case of why are y'all load managing this dude? He can't play back-to-backs. I think that is kind of like, yo, the NBA, you know, we're trying to load manage your star. Like, yeah, that's dick suck.
And I think ultimately, like, whatever happened to the allegations, whatever happens in the findings, whatever happens in all of these different things, honestly, none of it matters, because at the end of the day, Joel Embiid's knees, his back, his cerebral part, all these things are going to be fucked up. They're going to be elevated. They're going to be all this stuff. Whatever happens to Kawhi Leonard, his knees, his calves, his quads, all of that stuff is going to be messed up. And sure, they'll have a lot of money. They'll be older stars with a lot of money. Their quality of life is going to be horrendous. And now that I'm thinking about it, if we think about Kawhi Leonard's tenure, just think, because the lawsuit dates back to when his personal trainer got hired.
Mm-hmm.
Just think if this has been the case the whole time, this Clippers crazy pressure.
I do want to ask y'all this, because this was a conversation that was honestly sparked up by Stephen A. saying this take again. Do y'all think the Clippers, not in hindsight, but do y'all think the Clippers regret signing Kawhi and PG, with how things played out? You think they're sitting there in their front office being like, damn, we shouldn't have never done this?
No, not at all.
I agree, by the way.
They got the Intuit Dome.
Mm-hmm. To go from the transition of Lob City Clippers and what that was doing for that franchise, especially with the Clippers. Souls is a bit younger, but Omar, remember the Clippers were a laughing stock for real.
Hey, brother.
Here we go. Anyway, the Clippers were a laughing stock for the longest. So the little success they had with Lob City, to transition from that to a new era, and that new era ended up being Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, bring whatever star Westbrook, bring whatever star James Harden, and be able to bring that and have that kind of market there. I don't think they regret that at all.
Yeah, I think this era, the process was just fine to me. The results didn't. It wasn't what they signed up for. They were hoping for a dynasty, all these different things. But if you looked at what the 2018-19 Clippers looked like, what Paul George did that season, what Kawhi did that season, and the fact that they signed both of them in one off season, that made fucking sense. It was a team looking to make that next leap, and they got two superstars at that time to hop on their team. Kawhi was viewed as the best in the world at that time. The injuries weren't as big of a concern. I understand shit shaked out the way that they did, but for those of y'all making the case that they should have never done this, that's such a hindsight in 2020 type of thing. That's such a results oriented type of thing. A lot of moves that general managers make, there are risks involved. You know what I'm saying? None of this shit is guaranteed. Every single move, from a draft pick to who you pick as a coach. There's pros and cons to everything you do in life, damn near. Sometimes the dice just doesn't roll your way. It doesn't mean you made the wrong decision. It doesn't mean you made the wrong risk. The dice just didn't roll your way. You just gotta live with it.
And even what Damo was saying is 1,000% true. What people underestimate, that these guys wanted to come to the Clippers. That wasn't a thing. That was not a thing pre Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DJ, Doc. That wasn't to want to come to the Clippers, as opposed to being in LA. These are two natives that wanted to come there. I think what people fail to understand is because I'm a fan of a small market team. Dom was a fan of a small market team. Some of y'all just so happen to either live or love a big market team, or whatever the case may be. There's only so many opportunities. And I'm not justifying nothing that the Clippers did. I'm not justifying nothing the Sixers did. There's only so many opportunities for you to be like that. Because when you've been there, you've been there where you've been giving out tickets, having your superstars go door to door, park to park, school to school to try to promote your game, having to put them with the Happy Meals, having to put them. My first Hawks games were because I was in Big Brother, Big Sister, was because they were with a Happy Meal from McDonald's, were because a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend gave somebody something because they were a part of some organization, because that's how these small market teams had to get it off back then. It wasn't no Lakers. Lakers weren't giving out tickets. The Knicks weren't giving out tickets. How the WNBA is doing now with these day camp games, where they have the game in the middle of the day and the kids from the day camp come down and they get to watch the game. It might be 20. They might sell the package $10 a ticket for 150 kids. That's how the Hawks used to have to do it. They used to have to pull us down from the rafters. So if you think that they're not going to do everything in their power to take advantage of a Trae Young situation, a Joe Johnson, Josh Smith situation, they're going to do it because they don't want to go backwards. That may mean doing some shiesty stuff with these players and their injuries. It's totally unfair. It's disgusting and it's wrong, though. Let me be clear.